all you beautiful people, and welcome to part one of the, I'm not sure what I'm going to call it. The collection I'm using is Under the Sea, but I just did the Voyage Beneath the Sea album, so I feel like it would get confusing. We'll just call it the Heartfelt Creations album for now, because that's who the paper's by. So, to begin, as we figure that out, you will need to make your base pages, jumping right in. Oh, I guess I should tell you what you need, but you probably already know by now. You need, you need your paper cutter, your paper trimmer, you need a ruler, you need your paper collection, and your cardstock, of course. You need a few pieces of chipboard, you need some scissors. What else do I not have? Scoring board. You'll need some magnets and some, I don't have all my materials out here. And some glue. I'm using the Tombow liquid glue. And we'll kind of gather the rest as we go. That's the basics for what you need. Alright, to begin, you are going to cut 4 pieces, because we're going to have 4 base pages, 4 pieces of cardstock that measure 8.5 by 5 5/8. I know, I'm starting you off right off the bat with a weird measurement. 5 5/8 across. That is because the hinges that the pages are going to be sliding into were 5.5, so I wanted the base pages to be just a hair bigger so they could slide on really easily. Okay, so 4 of those. And then your second part of your base page, 4 of these as well. 8.5 by 6 5/8. Okay? And we are going to get our scoring board out, and we'll call these the B pieces, the bigger ones. So on the 6 5/8 side, score at half and 6 1/8. So you're making a 1/2 inch section on either side. So do that to all 4 of them. Oh shoot. And if 6 1/8 is confusing to you, you can always just turn your paper around and go a 1/2 again here. That works as well. Oh my goodness. I actually have an easier time scoring on this side, so I'm going to do 6 1/8 twice there. Okay, so now you will need your score tape. Of course, that's the other thing that you'll need. You'll need adhesives, score tape, and your ATG gun. So we will be adding score tape to our 1/2 inch sections, if I can find where it begins. There we go. The score tape is going, I haven't folded the score lines yet, so right now you've still got an indent here, that's your valley, and the raised edge is the mountain, so we're putting the score tape on the valley side, so right beside the indent, but we're making sure not to go over. So, what's the best light? How can I show you? There we go. So you're making sure that your score tape is beside your score line, not over it. Sorry, I'm filming at night, so I haven't got the best light. There we go, that shows it. Okay. Okay, so once you have your score tape on all of those, you should burnish it all down. Clear. Okay, and now we are going to miter all the corners. That means just taking off a little bit from the score line to the edge of the paper at an angle. Let's see if I can get that a little bit. So there we go. So we're like from the score, trying to show you, from the score line to the edge. And that's all we're doing. Alright, to anyone who's done my tutorials before, this is all second nature, you know the drill. Score tape, crease, miter, fold on the score lines. We'll do that a million times. Well, maybe not a million, but we do it often, right? And now we crease. And welcome if there's anyone doing this tutorial for the first time or doing any of the tutorials for the first time. If it's your first foray into mini albumdom, then welcome. You will for now and forever be obsessed. Alright, so we're just removing the score tape. Just removed half to start. And then you're just adhering your B piece that we just scored to your A piece, the smaller one. So one side's already adhered. And then this side should just line up perfectly. And essentially, you're just making a tube. Okay, perfect. So, one, done. Now we'll work on the second one. Alright, remove one half. Oh, sorry. I removed one half of the backing. Now I'm going to adhere it. Alright, so that's what we have so far. And now we'll remove this part of the backing. And when we close this up, it will create our page. Now, by just doing the two sides, it's open on either side. So one side is going to go into your book. The other side you can either leave open like this and use it as a pocket, put some tags and stuff like that in it, or you can put score tape here as well and close it up, or we can close it up later on. I'm actually going to add score tape here as well, and I'm going to close this half up because I don't think I'm going to have enough paper to create tags, so I think I'm going to do this. And now there is adhesive on two sides. I usually do it in the middle first, go along one side, go along the other side, and now I'll go along this side. So now you've got it, it's closed. Alright, so this is still your base page, and the opening will attach to your spine, or to your hinge mechanism, but it's not going to be open for a pocket. Okay, so your choice, which way you want it to do it, if you want it to be open or closed. And I'm just folding on the score lines. Okay, and then this is your third option. You can put score tape here as if you will close it so it's not a pocket. However, for this one I'm going to leave the score tape with the backing on it, because I think I might put one of our flaps with the flat part inside this, and I'll close it that way. So many options here. If that didn't make sense, you will see what I mean as soon as we start doing the pages. Okay. Oh, I think this one's a little crooked. And the last one. Alright, so now we have 4 base pages. Alright, the measurements for page 1, pretty easy peasy. It's just a waterfall, so we need 6 pieces measuring 5.5 by 4 3/4. And 1 piece measuring 5.5 by 8.5. Okay, so we're going to score each of our waterfall pieces at half along the 4 3/4 inch side. Okay, now I find it easier to score over here, so I'm going to score each one of them at 4 1/4, but either half or 4 1/4. Both of them do the same thing. Oops. Okay, so once you've got all of those scored, your other piece, say your B piece, you're going to score that on a half along the 8.5 inch side, so half or 8. Okay, and now we can remove our scoreboard, and guess what, we're adding score tape to all our 1/2 inch sections. You're gonna hear me say that a lot. Okay. Okay, once you have score tape on all of those, we are going to miter the corners. Now, if anyone's done one of my tutorials before, I would love to see what you came up with, what your creation looks like. I have beautiful comments that people say all the time, and they make my day, but I have not yet seen anyone's actual projects, and I would love to. So if you feel like filming it, and just mention me in the comments or something so I see it, or something. But yeah, I would absolutely love to check out some of your creations. Alright, those are all mitered. Get the bits out of the way. And now everything's going to go on your base page. Okay, so I say "so" a lot. I realize that when I'm editing that I say "so" an awful lot. I'm trying to catch myself. I say a lot too. Alright, so, oh my goodness. We are going to do a waterfall, and this piece here is going to adhere to this side of our base page, to the right side, and then our waterfall is going to go this way. But I was thinking that I might die cut the very top waterfall piece. So this is completely optional. I just haven't actually used my Heartfelt Creations this particular die yet. It is called, it's the Regals Borders and Pockets, and I used this one here in the my Heirloom Botanicals album, but I haven't used this die yet, so I just kind of wanted to try it out. And since it's a Heartfelt Creations album, I know it's gonna really work well. Okay, so I've got a piece of pattern paper on top of the piece I want to die cut. I have lined it up and put 2 tiny little pieces of washi tape, or like you can use any kind of low tack tape. It is flush with the top, but I've got space on the bottom and space on the sides. Okay, and then so I'm going to run this through my die cut machine together, and so we'll do that now. Okay, so it cut through the back and it cut through the pattern paper. So take your washi tape off carefully. And now we can, oh, and I had a tiny piece of ATG gun tape there to hold the paper in place as well. And now I'm just going to move this down a bit to get that kind of like shadowed effect, and then I'll adhere it. To do the other side, figure out what piece of pattern paper you would like and put it down here. So say I was using this one, line it up on the back where you'd want it, and then use a pencil or something just to trace around where that is, and then you know exactly where to put your die cut. Okay, so I'm going to do that now. I'm just going to put a piece of paper down here, trace around it, and then I'll line the die cut up just with that piece of paper. Alright, and we'll be right back. Okay, so this is going to be the other side. And flip it over and you've got that one. Alright, so back to our base page. We are going to adhere your larger B piece to the right of the base page. And your opening is to the left. Okay, so remember how I talked about closing the end once you are adding flaps? So remove the score tape from inside of your base page, and now I've put score tape on either side of this hinge, your B flap that we're about to adhere. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it right into the opening that your base page creates, not the one where you would have made it into a pocket, and then I'm just going to squeeze down, and that closes up the edge, and you've still got this open to put your page onto your book. But now it this part is closed and you've got a flap coming out from it. Alright, and now we can start doing our waterfall. So our first one is going to be the one that we've die cut. So this goes right to the very left hand side, sorry, of your base page. And then grab your next one. And butt it right up against where that 1/2 inch mark is. So you've got, this is from the last one, okay? And you're butting this right up against it. And then open it up and see where this 1/2 is. You're going to butt the next one right up against it. Okay, so it's going to go right here, line it up. Not quite straight. And keep doing that until you've got yourself a 6-part waterfall. Okay, so once you have your waterfall down, so you've got, then this flap is going to fold over top of them all, and then we're going to add a magnet here, and it's going to close like that. So we're going to add a little bit of score tape somewhere around there. And you want to put 2 magnets. Put some score tape over top of them again. Remove the backing and fold it up. There you go, that's your first page. Okay, so I just wanted to show you that I added some pattern papers to page 1. Okay, and then just the alternating waterfall with the blue and the peach. Okay, and I just left the backs blank and then put a little strip in the gusset in between each of them. Alright, so that's that, and now we will work on page 2. So we're going to flip this over, and the pieces that you will need for page 2, you will need 2 pieces that measure 5.5 by 7, 2 of those. 2 pieces that measure 6.5 by 2. And your C piece is 7 by 5.25. Your D piece is 7.5 by 5.25. Okay, so we'll get some scoring done here. Bring in your scoreboard. Okay, so your A pieces, you are going to score at half along the 5.5 inch side. So in my case, because I like scoring on this side better, I'm going to go at 5. So it's the same thing, half on this side or 5 on this side. Okay, so score both of those. Half along the 5.5 inch side. Okay, and then your 2 B pieces will be scored at half on the 2 inch side. And then you're going to turn it, and we're going to score at half and 6. Okay, so these are going to be little tiny pockets. So do that again, half, or if you're doing it on this side, 1.5, and then 1/2 and 6. And then your C piece does not get scored. Your D piece gets scored at 1/2 along the 8-inch side, or if you're doing it this way, along the 7.5 inch side, and then score at 7. Okay, so we're going to put score tape on all of those parts. Got a new camera set up, so I'm trying to make sure I stay in frame. Hopefully I do. Okay, so now let's miter all of those corners. Alright, get all those little bitties out of the way. Okay, so grab your base page, and we are going to adhere our A flaps. So we're going to adhere them to the top and the bottom of the base page. And now you're welcome to die cut the edge of these A flaps. I had planned to, but I decided that my die was far too short. I didn't want a big cutoff there. And I also felt that I'm going to be using this piece of paper on the front, and I felt like it cut off too much of that flower. Or does it? Maybe it doesn't. Now I'm indecisive again. Maybe I will. Yeah, okay, I'm going to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put just a tiny little bit of ATG adhesive. I'm going to line up my paper right to the top of the page. Okay, and I've cut it so that it's a little bit shorter, right? So you've got this extra here. And now I'm going to put my die on. And use a little bit of washi tape to hold it there. If I can get my washi tape to cooperate, there we go. So one on either side. That looks pretty good. Okay, so I'm going to run this through my die cut machine. Okay, and now remove the die. Okay, and I'm going to keep it there as I snip off the sides. I'm just going to kind of go at an angle. And the same on the other side. Okay, and then you can pull this piece down just a little bit to get that bit of a kind of a shadow effect almost. Alright, and now to do the other side, the piece of pattern paper on the other side, you are going to place your piece of paper so that the back side is showing, okay? So you don't want to draw on the front side. So line it up and then what we're going to do is we're going to draw, so kind of just trace this edge, and it doesn't have to be perfect, but this will just show you where your die should sit. Okay, so now you know, because the die cutting machine won't do 3 pieces of paper at a time, I have discovered. So just gonna line it up with that pen mark, and then we'll run this through the machine. And take the die off, cut at those angles again. Okay, perfect. And that's going to go on like that. So you're welcome to die cut the second piece as well. I think I'm going to leave this one so it has room for full photos, because I want to be able to, it is supposed to be all about the photos, right? So I want to make sure that the photos really take center stage. So your first A piece, I'm going to line it up with the top of the base page and right in the center as best I can. It's ever so slightly crooked. Let's see if I can make it perfect. Okay, and now you'll probably want to ink up these before, well, I guess you can put them on later as well. Okay, so this, your second A piece is going to line up with the bottom. And make sure the edges are even, so your both A pieces line up perfectly. Okay, and now your 2 little pockets here are going to go on either side. They're just tiny little pockets. So fold in your sides. So do the sides first. Remove the backing. And then flip up that bottom part. And it goes onto the side of your base page. And make sure you don't go over the score line up here or down here. It should fit perfectly right in between them. And then do the same with your other B piece. And it is going on the opposite side of your base page. Right to the edge. And now your D and C pieces. We're just attaching D to C and making a little booklet. So just attach those together. Just like that. And now you've got a little booklet. And that is what's going to go into your pocket. So you push it into one side and then just kind of squeak it into the other side, and then you can kind of maneuver it around. Alright, so excellent. And now you can decorate this part. We are going to add, are we going to add a magnet or a swing tab? I think we'll do a magnet. So I'm going to add a magnet to this part right here. Or 2 magnets, really. So 2 magnets. Okay, so we've got 2 magnets stuck together right there, and then we're going to put a little bit more score tape on top. And then we are going to fold it over. And there you go. Alright, so feel free to decorate that, and then we'll move on to page 3. Alright, so I ended up die cutting the top portion as well, simply because I realized that when I was showing you, I cut the wrong piece of paper. I didn't mean to cut this one. I had meant to cut one of these ones for the back. So I ended up doing them both. But I like the way it looks, so I'm happy with that. And now I'm just adding my pattern paper to the inside. And I just wanted to mention, when you're putting a piece of pattern paper into the, like, covering the pocket part, make sure you get it in the pocket, like on top of the side pieces. And then when you're sneaking it into this side, just make sure that you get it on top of those side bits. I hope that makes sense. So don't cut it the full length. Or you can, you know what you can also do? You can put your pattern paper on before you put your pockets on. That could work too. But this way, that little bit of pattern paper is also pushing down on those side these pieces of the pocket. So it's also helping to keep those pockets in place. And so now I'm just going to put some pattern paper on the little insert that we have here. So I'll show you bits and pieces of me adding the pattern paper, but I'm not going to do it all on camera, just because most of it is relatively straightforward. And then on the inside, oh, bugger. Of course, I put this one on the wrong part. Can I get it back up? Okay, so there is the booklet. Alright, and then that just goes in the pocket like that. Not as easily as I thought it would. There we go. I don't know why that was so difficult. Okay. And then this closes up like that. Alright, so now we are on to page 3.